welcome to the British GT Championship. Now this week we've moved from one end of the UK to the other, to Thruxton here in Hampshire, and you couldn't get a much more different track. Knockhill was tight and twisty, but this one, well, it's all about power. Last year at Thruxton, the Embassy team had their first ever podium in the Corvette, but since changing to a Porsche, they've had a tough time until things finally went their way at Knockhill and they got their first win.
Halfway through the race, as soon as the car started coming, the tyres got warm, we started passing people. That's when I thought, oh, this is a change of luck. And to win that race was really easy. Normally they're really frustrating, and you always spinning cars everywhere. I had spinning cars, but they just spun around me. They didn't go into me for a change. And yeah, so it just came easy for a change. I like it like that.
Tim Mullen made an uncharacteristic mistake last time out at Knockhill and spun the Ferrari, but he still managed to fight his way back through the field.
At Knockhill, the 35 car went with a soft rear compound tyre and we went with the harder one on the weekend, so that left it a little bit difficult for the second race when we started the race on cold slicks on a damp track, really. So just on the second lap coming out of the chicane, I just went a little bit wide, and on the cold tyres the car just spun around on me, so it caught me out, really. So after that I was really flying. After that I was setting fastest lap after fastest lap, and we got back up to second by the end of the stint and handed over to Chris, and then Chris drove a really good race to hold off Mike Jordan, and we finished second, so not too bad in the end.
Chris Niarchos put in a storming drive on the short track and was awarded driver of the day for his efforts.
It's one of those things where I sort of just got the bit between my teeth. I felt like a bit of a man possessed, really, at Knockhill, and it just turned out really good. I was sort of charging through the traffic, and I got out of the car and sort of had the biggest grin on my face. Just thought that was the best race I've driven, and it was really good. Just sort of leaving there, which everybody says is such a challenging circuit, and to have that sort of pace was great.
Former touring car star and TV commentator Tim Harvey makes his return to the championship this weekend in the motor-based Porsche.
Well, 2001 was last time I did the championship with the Dodge Vipers, which was great fun in the Hales racing team. Since then, obviously, I did touring cars in 2002 and then Carrera Cup. So I haven't been back in the paddock, but it's really nice to be back. Good atmosphere, nice to be part of a team sort of environment again, where both drivers and everyone makes a difference, rather than just a sprint individual race. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think I'll look to do some more now.
One of the surprise performances at Knockhill came from a car that's new to the British GT Championship this year. It actually led very briefly. It was a front runner in the early stages of the race, and it proves that it's got a great deal of potential. The Nissan 350Z, it's run by MontyMotorsport, but originally this car was a road car. What does it take to turn it into a GT2 racing car? Well, for a start, about 1,000 hours of work on the body shell. A huge amount of work goes into preparing this body shell to go racing. A lot of that is to do with losing weight. The road car weighs around 1,500 kilos, but the weight limit for GT2 is just 1,100 kilos. A lot of weight to be got rid of, and one of the ways they can do that is by using carbon on the doors. But you can't just go and buy a carbon door for a Nissan 350Z. The team has to start by making the moulds and then making the doors. So it's a long process to reduce that weight. And then there's the engine. Now, if you took this engine and put it in your road car, you'd be pretty fast at the traffic light Grand Prix. That's because the guys at International Engine Services have changed the pistons, revised the cylinder heads and the fuel injection system. It now produces some 420 brake horsepower, and they're still working on it to find even more. Now, not only is the car new to British GT, so is one of the drivers. Ali, you had a great run going with the car at Knockhill. How did it feel for you?
It was fantastic in front of our home crowd, and in the hands of Bryce Wilson, the car actually led the race, and I saw it overtake a Ferrari on one occasion.
That was brilliant stuff. Just tell us about this project, though. The car is unique, not only in Britain, but I think in all of Europe. A lot of work has gone into this.
Yeah, it's a whole new project, and as such, RGN are running the car. They've hugely experienced with British touring cars, European touring cars, and Paris Dakar, and Bob Neville heads up that team and does a fantastic job.
And yourself, you're still learning about British GT. What's been the biggest part of the learning curve for you?
It's fantastic, the circus that goes around, and the food here is a lot better. And cars are surprisingly hot though. But the best thing about that is when you get out of the car, there's always a cold bottle of Foster's there, and it's so refreshing.
There's no doubt that this unique project with the Nissan is a brave attempt, taking on the massed ranks of Porsche and Ferrari, and we'll keep an eye on to see how they get on throughout the year. Now, though, we're going to keep an eye on our very own Rob Bath, who has managed to borrow a rather nice-looking motor car.
A slightly nervous Chris Niarchos has lent me his brand new road-going Ferrari F430 to do a lap of the circuit here at Thruxton to show you the characteristics of the track. Let's see what this baby will do.
On the power hard before coming into Allard corner. Again, progressively round into Allard. Nice accurate clipping point, using the road on the way out. Car positioning here, so careful. You've got to be nicely in the centre as you bring the car back across the left-hand side to get your line right into the complex. It's the first of the overtaking opportunities here at Thruxton. Hard on the brakes into there, round Campbell corner, round Cobb at the moment, and then as you come out of Seagrave here, you've really got to unwind the steering lock and let the car use every centimetre of road on the left-hand side. Hard on the power then, coming into the fastest sequence of corners anywhere in the UK. A little bit of curb before coming round through Noble, very, very bumpy here. You'll see a lot of the Porsches struggling for front-end grip as they come round. Off the brakes, round into Goodwood, very progressive corner. You can see there's very little gradient here. Thruxton's an airfield perimeter track, so there's very little change in shape of the road. It's so hard for a driver to see. Coming down into Church now, the infamous Church corner. I'm having a little break in Chris's road car here. The guys will be coming through here on their slick racing tyres with just a lift. Pushing hard on the way out, coming up Woodham Hill. Into the second of those two slower areas, the chicane. I'm doing nearly 150 miles an hour in Chris's road car, on the brakes, slowing the car down, and then round into the chicane, taking care to stay off the curbs, and then getting on the power nice and early to come out the chicane, back onto the start-finish straight.
There you go, Chris. I told you I'd bring it back in one piece.
The first race of the day about to get underway here for the British GT. The Ferrari's on pole, and alongside is the hard-charging TVR, so we should be in for some pretty close racing. Here's Ben.
Thanks, Diana. Nathan Kinch starting the Ferrari that is on pole position. Andrew Thompson's back in the TVR, and it's good to see Gavin Kershaw in the Cadena Mosler making their first appearance in this season's racing. Alongside him is Patrick Pearce in the other TVR, then Neil Cunningham starting the Embassy Porsche. Chris Niarchos starts the second of the Ferraris, and Phil Keane is in the number 69 Mosler. That's the first appearance for that car, the Eclipse Motorsport machine, as well in 2005. Cars moving away on their green flag lap, but are they? There's a problem there for Chris Niarchos. That Ferrari's not moving. Tim can't quite believe it. That's the car he'll be taking over, or should be, and there's a major problem for Chris.
Absolutely, Ben. We saw Tim's body language speak 1,000 words, and a shake of the head there from Mr. Niarchos as well, so that's dreadful. Look, could be some sort of transmission failure with the Ferrari.
Oh, that's so disappointing for these two enthusiastic racers. No chance for them in this one. The red flags are out. It'll be a complete restart, and it will be without the Ferrari. That is being pushed away. Welcome back to Thruxton, and after problems for the number 34 Ferrari, it's been pushed away. We're ready for a restart here, a new start. It's the number 35 car, and Nathan Kinch on pole position. Andrew Thompson in the TVR going with him at the start. We're under racing conditions, and Patrick Pearce trying to go around the outside of the Mosler of Gavin Kershaw. We have a great view from on board Neil Cunningham, and I think Patrick Pearce has made the move. Cunningham himself also trying to go around that new Mosler. And then it's Phil Keane right in behind him. And also there you can see David Jones in the number 22 Porsche right behind his teammate's machine, the number 77 car. And that's being driven by Mike Jordan at the moment. Out towards the fast sections, we're riding on board now with Ali Nakiva in the Nissan.
Fantastic view from the cockpit of the Nissan 350Z there, Ben.
Yeah, looks good. This is where the speed really begins to build. But Rob, this is where it also gets so bumpy, isn't it? And perhaps we'll get a chance to see some of that.
You can see Ali's head moving around there as he comes through the really quick sections now, down towards Church Corner. It really is the fastest section of corners anywhere in the UK, as I mentioned earlier.
Brilliant stuff through there, but look at race leader. It's Nathan Kinch with Andrew Thompson right behind him. And Thompson, remember, an expert in Formula 3, but he's less experienced in these big sports cars, having a bit of a go into the chicane. Not quite alongside enough. Behind him is Patrick Pearce. Then it's Neil Cunningham in the number 55 Porsche. Race winner at Knockhill. And behind him, it's Gavin Kershaw having that first outing in the Cadena Mosler and staying in touch. Phil Keane not far behind him in 6th place in the second of the Moslers. Good to see the big American muscle cars back out in British GT. Tom Herridge won the 2003 title in one of them. But up front we've got the two TVRs getting very close. Number 42 Andrew Thompson and number 43 Patrick Pearce.
And this is a fantastic opportunity for the two TVRs. They've only got 50% of the Ferrari steamroller that they normally face, and coming into Noble Corner, oh, that's contact there between Neil Cunningham and Patrick Pearce. Very aggressive driving from Pearce, as we've seen 2 or 3 times already this season, Ben.
And look, this has given Gavin Kershaw a chance to get past Neil Cunningham, because Cunningham went for the move and it didn't come off. Now Gavin Kershaw's got a great run in the Mosler. Through he sweeps down towards Church Corner, a little bit of braking, and watch the car bobbing and moving around. There's constant movement through that corner in these big, powerful machines.
And you saw a little tap of the brake pedal there from the Mosler ahead, just because they're getting pad knock-off. It's so bumpy. And the other Moslers through on the right-hand side. They're in a big lock-up from Cunningham. He was locked up for ages, though, on the run into the chicane. And actually, the right-hand side of the car seems lower than the left. And, yeah, he's peeling off into the pits, Ben.
Yeah, it looks as though he may well have a puncture on that right front. And presumably, it was caused in this incident with Patrick Pearce. He just nosed inside. There was the contact. And, well, I guess that's what caused it, and a bit of work to be done in the pit lane. Bad news for them. Meanwhile, the two TVRs are hard at it. Andrew Thompson is the lead one at the moment. Right behind him is Patrick Pearce. Pearce is going to try something here. He's going to try and go around the outside. Oh, he's gone very wide. He's on the slippery stuff on the outside. Has to shortcut the chicane. Rejoined. He did well to hold that, but he didn't get into second place, which was the plan. He may have even lost a bit more ground, as we ride on board now with Phil Keane, and he's managing to go past Kershaw. No, he isn't. Oh, big sideways moment from Gavin Kershaw.
Very, very close to losing both Moslers, I think, there, Ben.
That was tight, wasn't it? And Kershaw using all of his renowned car control there to keep the Mosler under control. Phil Keane right behind him. Keane, very experienced in TVRs in the Tuscan Championship, but he's showing well in this mid-engined Mosler. Not the easiest car to grab by the scruff of the neck, is it?
No, I spent quite a lot of time driving the Moslers, and they're a fairly hairy animal when you're new to the GT kind of scene, and no, they're not the easiest car to drive.
Bit wide there from Kershaw. He's out a little wider than he would like. This could give a run for Phil Keane. He's tight on the inside here, getting the power on. I think he should have to run down towards Church Corner, and of course he's now got the advantage on the line, tight into the curve, and you can hear the rumble strip on the inside working that steering wheel. He's gained the place, and now he's going to try and chase after the TVRs up ahead. Oh, somebody's lost it in front of Cunningham. That's Jason Coffin, and he's rolling. Oh, my word. I don't know how Andy Britnell managed to miss him there. Somehow or other he did. Now, battle for the lead between Nathan Kinch and Andrew Thompson. We saw Patrick Pearce have that go at getting past Thompson. That just dropped him back a little bit. He's still running in 3rd place. There he is. In fact, he's regained a lot of that ground. The Mosler of Philip Keane running in 4th place now, ahead of Kershaw in 5th. But it's Nathan Kinch in the Ferrari who's got the pressure on him.
Great shot of the cars coming through and out of Noble there. 1,100 kilos of GT car being driven right on the very limit, and it's so good to see the cars drifting and sliding around at high speed as we're back on board with Cunningham.
Now, Cunningham's been into the pits. He's had a new right front tyre fitted, and that's brought him out in the middle of some of the GT3 cars. And he's just got to try and pick up the pieces in this race. I suppose the best thing for him would be a safety car, just to allow him to close up to the leaders. But here is Nathan Kinch. He's lost it. The race leader spins right in front of the two TVRs. They managed to miss him. Kinch has lost the lead here, and it means that Andrew Thompson is now in front. The Ferrari rejoining just in front of Gavin Kershaw. But look at Patrick Pearce. Pearce takes the lead from Andrew Thompson. So Patrick Pearce, who went wide earlier on in the chicane, snatches the lead just as Nathan Kinch loses it.
Yes, Ben, I don't know whether Andy Thompson was surprised there by the leader going off in front of him, but that just gave the edge to Patrick Pearce, who's dived through into the lead, and it's great to see the top 3 running so close together now.
Patrick Pearce was one of the stars of the opening meeting at Donington to start this season. He and Warren Hughes finished in 2nd place overall, largely thanks to Patrick's efforts in the early laps. He now leads, but we're on board with Philip Keane. I'm very impressed with Philip Keen's performance in the Eclipse Motorsport Mosler. First time out for them. Eclipse Motorsport have had a few dramas this year, getting ready to come into GT racing. Had a couple of shunts with their Moslers, but it's right on the pace at the first meeting.
And it's Philip's debut in the British GT Championship, and to be honest, he's pushing for the lead, so a better job he couldn't be doing.
It's great stuff, the top three cars all together here, and look, he's had a great run out of Church Corner. Philip Keen in the Mosler. Can he get into second place? He's got well, it's very even between these two. He's on the inside, and I think he will, yes, because Thompson makes a mistake, brakes a little bit too late, snatches that right front wheel, and that allows Philip Keen to move into second place and go chasing after race leader Patrick Pearce.
He's now the filling in a LNT TVR sandwich, and it'll be great to see if he can move up into the lead now. He's got the bit between his teeth, as you mentioned, and, well, to be honest, he's flying.
He is flying. This is great stuff. Now, how is he going to apply the pressure to Patrick Pearce? Pearce, a former GT Cup champion in British GT, and very now used to this front-engine rear-wheel drive TVR. We've got the mid-engine Mosler, though. Listen to that noise inside. V8 engine working hard, but someone's off. Oh, that's the number 14 car. That is Richard Jones, who's gone off. And he's off at Allard Corner, just on the outside. Not a nice place to leave the car. Back on board the Mosler of Philip Keen. Look at the two cars working so hard through Church Corner. Now they're up to 150, 160 miles an hour as they get ready to brake. It's the battle of the late breakers. Pearce on the inside, and he goes too wide, and through on the inside comes Philip Keen. Oh, that was a great move.
That was absolutely awesome. Philip Keen did a fantastic job there. Awesome to see the two cars running side by side there, Bennett. Like you say, speeds up to 170 miles an hour.
And it's about as wide as a country lane, let me tell you, going into that chicane. So how you fit two cars. Off has gone Gavin Kershaw. Well, there's a lot of rubber being laid down. Makes you wonder if something hasn't gone wrong there. It's a slightly odd place to have gone off. High speed too. So that's a worry. The Marshals, meanwhile, have managed to get Richard Jones' car a little bit out of the way, but we are seeing a few cars littering the side of the circuit, and I wonder if the clerk of the course might bring the safety car out. Discussion going on at Embassy, yes. I think they can see that the safety car is heading out, and they're wondering about pit stops. Their man, Neil Cunningham, with that earlier pit stop, is down in 6th place, but Phil Keen leads the race, with Patrick Pearce in 2nd and Andy Thompson in 3rd. And remember, Nathan Kinch is in 4th after that earlier spin up at the chicane.
And if we go back to a replay of that, you can see as he comes down the gears, he loses the back end now. Whether he's just let the clutch out a bit aggressively or whether he's got a problem with the gearbox, I don't know. But he's probably taking 3rd gear at that point there, and that's where he spun it.
Now, the safety car leads them round. Now, just over 23 minutes have gone in this race. That means that you can change drivers if you want to. And I think, yes, we'll see some of the lead teams deciding to come straight into the pits. Perfect timing in those terms with the safety car out there to swap drivers and get their second man out in the car. Let's just see what's going on board the Embassy car. Now, they're waving at him, but I don't think he's had the signal yet to be able to come into the pits. It could be they've got some sort of communications problem, because everybody else up front has decided to come in. Patrick Pearce out, Warren Hughes getting in, Johnny Kane getting into the other TVR.
Yes, Ben, a bit of an odd hand signal followed by a thumbs up there from Neil Cunningham, so it'll be interesting to see if he does visit pit road on the next possible opportunity. But look at all the cars that have pitted during the safety car window.
Yeah, it is ideal timing for everyone to come in at this point. Also the Nissan, Ali McKeever out, and that's Michael Bentwood getting into the car. There is the number 35 Ferrari. Now remember, Nathan Kinch had dropped to 4th after the earlier spin, but that's a good stop from the Ferrari. They made a gain. Yeah, I think they've got out in front of Phil Keen, who was leading behind the safety car. And it looks as though the Eclipse team have come out of this losing at least a couple of places. We're on board with Michael Bentwood in the Nissan, and they've had a reasonably good stop, so he may have gained some ground, quite possibly. Steve Hyde has now taken over the Eclipse Motorsport Mosler, but as I say, it came into the pits in the lead. It's not leading now. Let's just take another look, though, at how Phil Keen took the lead.
So as the two cars come up Woodham Hill, they come by a slower GT3 car. He sells the dummy, the TVR falls for it and slides slightly wide. Phil capitalises upon that manoeuvre and takes the lead nice and cleanly as he comes out of the chicane. Fantastic move there by Phil Keen, and if we had a Goal of the Month award, that's definitely what I would be rooting for.
The safety car is coming in on this lap. The racing about to restart at Thruxton. Most cars have been in for their pit stops. One or two still haven't done so. The lead car is now the number 43 TVR. After the pit stops, it's Warren Hughes in front of Andrew Kokodi, who gained 2 places in those pit stops. Nathan Kinch came in 4th place. Mark Cole is in 3rd place. Now, he's the leading GT3 class car, and he's driven superbly. Mark Cole having his first outing in British GT this year, and he's had a fantastic first stint, but he's not come into the pits yet, so that's sort of helping him, but he has been leading the class for a while. But up front, good battle between TVR and Ferrari as Ben Collins finally makes his stop, but he's had to stop under green flag racing conditions, and again, this will have hurt the Embassy Porsche as we turn our attention to just how much Warren Hughes is being attacked by Andrew Kokodi.
Great battle for the lead, this, Ben. This is the nice thing about racing. Immediately after the safety car, it bunches the whole field up, and as they come down into Church Corner there, Kokodi looks to the inside, and Warren Hughes is defending hard, but he's still got the line as they come up Woodham Hill now.
Warren Hughes, of course, a very experienced competitor. He's raced everything from Formula 3 through sports cars and touring cars. He's going to be a hard man to pass, but Andrew Kokodi's going to try everything, trying to go around the outside into the chicane. Oh, that was a good attempt, but the TVR was very late on the brakes, and Andrew Kokodi had to sit in behind him on the exit of the corner. Now he's going to try on the inside for Allard. Surely he's going to make the move here. Warren Hughes trying to stay with him around the outside. He still stays with him. Well, that's pretty brave because it's slippery on the outside normally. Surely now the Ferrari's got the inside line into the complex, hasn't he? Still Warren Hughes won't give up. Still he's driving around the outside. They're almost trading paint, but not quite touching, and Kokodi still can't make it.
Just fantastic driving for Warren Hughes to defend around the outside for 2 corners running. Tremendous. And they're right together again as they run up to Noble. They're doing 145, 150 miles an hour almost.
That Ferrari is worth some £300,000. You wouldn't think so, the way that Andrew Kokodi's driving it. He's almost touching the TVR through some of these bends. Again, through the fastest sections. He can't be any closer without actually rubbing. And again, it's Warren Hughes who defends resolutely but fairly, and still the Ferrari can't find a way through.
Sliding his way through Church, Warren Hughes again holds the upper hand as they're coming up Woodham Hill. Now he's defending hard to the inside, making Kokodi look round the outside as he did last time, into the braking area, not quite side by side, and still he leads on the run through the chicane.
Andrew Kokodi and Nathan Kinch have only been beaten in the British GT Championship once this year. That was by the Embassy Racing Porsche. But for Warren Hughes to beat Kokodi in this race, he's going to have to do this for an awfully long time. Mind you, one of Warren's heroes is Gilles Villeneuve, and he did it in Formula 1 many years ago. So I wonder if he can do it.
He's really got his work cut out. And Kokodi jinxed the inside there as he got the line at the complex.
Oh,
yes, he has. He's just through.
Oh, dear. Well, it didn't last quite as long as Warren would have hoped, perhaps, but that was a great effort, wasn't it?
Awesome stuff. Absolutely great.
And the Ferrari now in front, and it has shown tremendous pace at all of the circuits we've been to this year. Now that he has got ahead, I think we will expect to see him just ease away from the TVR. But this team, they've had their dramas. Remember that all those engine problems they had last time out at Knock Hill. Let's just hope it continues running reliably. Now the Nissan is going well. That's currently running in 3rd place. The Mosler of Steve Hyde in 4th, and in 5th place, trying to get past him, is Johnny Kane in the other TVR.
An old teammate of mine from Formula Ford is Johnny Kane, and I'd imagine he'll be pretty quickly past Steve Hyde, yep, down the inside on the run into the complex, and be interesting to see the progress Johnny can make in the latter half of the race. He's another very, very good driver.
Yeah, former British Formula 3 champion, of course, Johnny Kane, and then went over to race in the States in the Indy Lights Championships, and in trouble there's Michael Caine with the number 77 Porsche, and that right rear didn't look quite right. I'm not sure what's gone wrong, though.
I think that was some fluid coming out. Could be water, could be oil. And is that somebody spinning on his oil or water? That's the Pro Sport, isn't it?
Yeah, Rob Horsfield going off. That's a first appearance for that car this year as well. Now, in the GT3 class, the Marcos, number 81 there, running in 2nd place currently. Behind him is Oliver Bryant in the Morgan, but there is the lead car in that class. It is Piers Maserati. We've seen this car dominating most of the races. They've only been beaten once this year. That was in one of the races at Croft, and they're leading again here at Thruxton. There you can see the 2nd place Marcus, and just, oh, no, hang on, that's not where he should be going. Suddenly 2nd's gone to the Morgan of Oliver Bryant.
No, and coming into the complex, the Marcos simply pulled off on the left-hand side there, Ben. I don't know whether the engine...
Oh, more dramas. That's the leader in GT3. That's Piers Maserati, and the tyre's blown.
and he's an awfully long way from home. That's coming out of Noble Corner into Village, and he's, what, probably 3/4 of the way from home on this 2.6 mile circuit, so he's got at least a mile and a half to go, and whether he'll make it back, I don't know, Ben.
Well, this is a turn up for the books. It looks like the favourites in GT3 are going to be beaten this time. We're on board, though, with Michael Bentwood in the Nissan. Now, he's currently in 3rd place, and he's been fending off Johnny Kane for a couple of laps already. I wonder if he can continue with this. Down the hill towards Church again. Watch his head bobbling around on the bumps. Oh, still that Porsche limping around. The tyres come off. And look, there's the Nissan and the TVR going around the outside of him.
Yeah, Piers lost the tread from his Dunlop tyre. They're right in front of the two quicker GT2 cars, and Johnny's looking to the outside of Michael Bentwood there as they come into the chicane. Has he done it?
Oh, this is good side-by-side stuff. And he just squeezes in front of Michael Bentwood. Again, both of them with plenty of single-seater experience. That was almost like a Formula Ford or Formula 3 bit of racing, but very clean as well. And now it means the Nissan's in 4th place, but still very encouraging. This car is gradually being developed. It is a brand new car. It is unique, but they are beginning to get some results with it. They won't get a podium, though, if that TVR runs as reliably as it has been so far. The TVR's looking to finish in 2nd and 3rd, as into the pits comes Piers Maserati.
And the Tech 9T will be looking to change that left rear wheel as quick as they can. You can see that, the side walls of the tyre still hanging onto the rim there.
Oh, it is a mess, though, isn't it? And, of course, tyre wear here at Thruxton is always key, isn't it? And if you end up hitting a curb or picking up a bit of shrapnel, it's the last thing you want on such a fast circuit. Andrew Kirkcaldy coming across the line, though. Warren Hughes still in 2nd place. There's the Morgan that's leading in GT3, and that's the youngster Oliver Bryant at the wheel now. Keith Arles drove it in the first part of the race, but remember how strong Oliver was at Croft when he finished in 2nd place after leading much of the race, and he should be able to hold on to the lead in GT3. And now we've got a good race going on here between Steve Hyde and Ben Collins.
Fantastic recovery drive there from Ben Collins. Remember, he lost that time at the pit stop window, and he's charged back up the field, and he's caught back up to Hyde, who's now in 5th place, Ben?
Yeah, 5th place, that's right, that's what he's racing for. Collins trying to find an edge here on the Mosler. Quite different types of car, the rear-engine Porsche. Where can he find a bit more power out of this sequence of corners? The Mosler's quite wide, though, so you've got to find a bit of space to get alongside it. And now we're into the left-hand Noble Corner. Bit wide there from Steve Hyde. Here's an opportunity for Collins to dive down the inside. And that made it look pretty easy, but yes, through in the mirror you could just see the Mosler disappearing behind him.
Yeah, fantastic move there from Ben. Very opportunistic on the run into Goodwood. He got past very quickly there, and looking at the leader now, Andrew Kirkcaldy, as he comes into the chicane.
And this is for the final time. He's on the last lap. The checkered flag awaits. And Andrew Kirkcaldy is going to take another victory for Scuderia Ecos. A superb run, considering Nathan Kinch had dropped to 4th place before the pit stops. The teamwork and the driving of Kirkcaldy coming through to win it. And the Morgan of Keith Arles and Oliver Bryant taking the win in GT3. And for Keith Arles, that's their first win with this car in 3 years of trying. A great effort from that team. So victory going once again to Kinch and Kirkcaldy, but the TVRs were strong. 2nd and 3rd, with Michael Bentwood and Ali McKeever taking 4th in the Nissan. In GT3, Bryant and Arles took the win from Britnell and Harvey in their Porsche.
It's a really good race with Warren, and it was good clean fight. It was really enjoyable. And towards the end, we just had to make sure we're going to get to the finish, because you just never know where the tyres here, whether they'll hang on. So nice and steady, and got to the end.
It's the 4th win in 5 races for Kinch and Kirkcaldy, but the first time this season we've seen both TVR teams on the podiums.
Well, the Ferrari of Andrew Kirkcaldy and Nathan Kinch took the win yesterday, but they were heavily pushed all the way by the TVR cars. Now, today's race sees 2 Ferraris on the front row, and right behind them are the TVRs. They'll be pushing them all the way. Here's Ben.
Andrea Cocotti maintains that 100% pole qualifying record for the number 35 Ferrari. Interestingly, team formation, 2 Ferraris, and then the 2 TVRs with Warren Hughes in the number 43 car and Johnny Kane in number 42. Then it's the Embassy Porsche, Ben Collins at the wheel, with Michael Bentwood in the Nissan, there on row number 3. And then we're back to team formation again, because Eurotech have Michael Kane and Godfrey Jones together on row number 4. Pole position in GT3 has gone to Tim Harvey, who's making his first appearance in the British GT Championship this year. But we're all set to go racing. The second of the 2 races at Thruxton, Andrea Cocotti versus Tim Mullen on the front row of the grid. And then the 2 TVRs of Warren Hughes and Johnny Kane on the second row, with Ben Collins and Michael Bentwood right behind. Let's see who makes the best start. Good start from Andrea Cocotti. All very close together. It's a nice even start this time, certainly for the front runners. And there you can see, coming from the back, Steve Hyde in the Mosler. They had a bad qualifying session, so he's got plenty of work to do. The 2 Ferraris turning into the complex, then the TVRs. It's all getting a little bit tight through there, though. Everybody jostling for position. There's Nick Adams in the Ferrari, trying to find some space as well in the number 15 car. Oh, no, he's lost it. Nick Adams has lost it, and oh dear, that's going to put him well down the order. One of the front runners in GT3, and there's problems there for the number 43 TVR of Warren Hughes. And also for the Embassy Porsche. Looks like they've both got punctures. I wonder, Rob, do you think they might have made contact?
Yeah, possibly contact there between the 2. I saw the TVR had a puncture on the left rear, and it looks like the Porsche's puncture is on the right-hand side of the car, so possibly contact, as you say, Ben.
Godfrey Jones in the number 22 Porsche, keeping the pressure on his teammate as they head through Church Corner, or Michael Kane. But up front, no doubt about Andrea Cocotti and Tim Mullen. The 2 Scuderia Acos Ferraris are pulling away from Johnny Kane in 3rd place, 4th place for Michael Bentwood in the Nissan, and everybody else just trying to find a place here. You can see the other Mosler is in amongst the GT3 cars as well. That is Barry White in the number 2 car. But Tim Harvey, running in 5th place at the moment, is the lead GT3 class car. Look, 5th place overall, ahead of Michael Kane. So that's definitely one to watch. Into the pits, though, comes Ben Collins.
And as he comes down the pit lane, sticking to the 65-kilometre limit, the 2 Ferraris are out the back of the circuit, lapping much, much quicker. So Ben losing a huge amount of time, as he did in race 1.
Not been a good weekend for Embassy, and also into the pits, Warren Hughes. It does seem as though those 2 had a bit of a coming together. So there's a good look around the back of the car there, just to make sure there are no other problems. Meanwhile, Ben Collins is on his way, but 2 potential podium finishers really out of the equation now, and Tim Mullen staying very close to the back of Andrea Cocotti. There's Johnny Kane in a rather lonely 3rd place. These 2 other cars probably would have been with him on circuit, but of course now they've had to make their pit stop. Do you think Tim's really going to challenge for this lead?
Tim will always challenge for the lead, Ben. I know that he and Chris are pushing really, really hard in what some people perceive as being the 2nd Ferrari in that team, and there's contact between 2 Porsches there into Allard.
Yeah, this time that's Pete Osborne that's gone off, and that's virtually the same place that Richard Jones went off in that car in the 1st race. So those guys are really not having any luck at all this weekend. There in the number 23 red and white Porsche is Tim Harvey, and he's leading the GT3 class by quite a margin. But not only that, he's in front of Michael Kane and Godfrey Jones in GT2 versions of the Porsche.
Tim's doing an awesome job here, coming out of Noble into Goodwood Corner. He's going so quickly in that smaller GT3 car. He's probably giving away maybe 60, 70 horsepower to the bigger cars behind him.
Julian Westwood also going well in GT3, ahead of Steve Hyde, and Steve Hyde's trying to get past some of these front runners. There's the Morgan that won the GT3 class in the 1st race at Thruxton. Oh dear, but major problems for the Monaro, the Vauxhall Monaro, steaming away in the pit lane.
Yeah, more bad luck there for the Monaros. They've had no good luck at all this season, and we saw fluid there underneath the bonnet. And Tim Harvey there still leading that train of Porsches.
Now this is great stuff from Tim Harvey. Remember, he races in the British Carrera Cup, front runner in that championship. This car basically identical, and he's already raced here at Thruxton this year. In fact, he's indicating now, he's saying, all right boys, I've had my bit of glory, you can come back past me. So it's Michael Kane who slipped down the inside, and Harvey of course won't want to lose too much time doing this. He still wants to make sure he's got a very healthy margin in GT3, so that when he hands the car over to Andy Britnell, they can hopefully take the class win.
Yes, absolutely, and that's the nice thing about GT racing. He's racing not only for himself but for the team as well.
Now here we are on board with Steve Hyde. He's still trying to fight his way past some of the GT3 cars after a poor qualifying session, and it's Julian Westwood that he's trying to get past here. Slips up the inside into Noble. I think he's got the job done. And Tim Harvey still battling here with Godfrey Jones in the more powerful number 22 car. Jones has got him this time, though, into Church.
He had to have a good dab of the brakes, though, did Godfrey, to make sure he didn't run wide on the exit there, and the Mosley's got the run on both of them. With Harvey in the middle, and they're 3 abreast coming up Woodham Hill now.
Would you believe it? You wouldn't think there was enough space to go 3 abreast, and Tim Harvey's coming back at Godfrey Jones. The GT3 car, in theory, slower than the GT2 car, but he's got back in front of him.
He just got a real good run out of Church there, Ben, and simply drafted his way back through to the lead of that little trio.
Great getting into the slipstream of the bigger car, as you say, using that to his full advantage there and getting ahead of Godfrey Jones. And Barry White in the Mosler, not far behind as well. We're with the 2 race leaders, though. Nothing to choose between Andrew Kukodi and Tim Mullen. Both very experienced competitors, of course, and looking here to try and beat the TVR of Johnny Kane. Michael Bentwood running in 4th place. Then it's Michael Kane, with Tim Harvey still holding on to 6th place. We're at Thruxton in Hampshire for the British GT Championship. The 2 Ferraris are leading the way at the moment. Now, Warren Hughes had to come into the pits earlier on because of an incident on the first lap. So that TVR is actually a lap down. The other TVR of Johnny Kane is still running, though, in 3rd place, but he can't quite maintain the pace of those 2 Ferraris. Into the pits too early has come Piers Maserati. They've got another tyre problem. That left rear is being changed. You can also see the Vauxhall Monaro being push-started, hoping that they can get that back into the race. But this is bad news for the leader in the GT3 Championship.
They've had some terrible luck this weekend. The team seems to have been permanently changing that left rear tyre, Ben.
Yeah, well, hopefully he can get out. That Monaro almost in the way on the exit of the pits, but he got round it quite neatly. Now, Michael Kane and Godfrey Jones are still fighting for position. They have both got past the Porsche that's leading in GT3. That's Tim Harvey. So at last they've managed to stretch their legs a little bit, if you like, although the Mosler has got past them as well, of Barry White. Look at these two, how close they are. They have been struggling for pace, though, with the Porsches at Thruxton.
Yeah, I spoke to Mike Jordan earlier, and he said even the best Porsche in the world is still a handful around Thruxton, and I know the Eurotech cars they've been working hard on setup, but they just haven't got the pace, it doesn't seem, this weekend.
This race was always expected to be a little bit of a Ferrari benefit. They always were looking forward to Thruxton being a fast open circuit. Into the pits comes Ben Collins, and remember that had a tyre changed earlier on as a result of an incident on the opening lap. Looks as though they've got further problems with that machine. Meanwhile, the 2nd placed Ferrari, the number 34 car, they're just picking his way past David Pinkney. Pinkney making his first appearance in British GT this year. He's in the GT3 class, but Tim Mullen just finding it fairly easy to move past him. Still has lost a bit of time to Andrew Kukodi, our race leader, as hopefully we get Collins underway, do we? Well, no, it's still... Well, he stalled it briefly and then lays the rubber down as he comes out of the pits. There's a little demonstration of how much power there is. And also into the pits, another puncture here. This looks like it's the number 20 car. That's David Ashburn. They're having a good look around the back of the car. Damage done, of course, when a tyre gets punctured like that. Hopefully they can just send him out on a new tyre. Godfrey Jones, meanwhile, still trying to get past Michael Kane. And that's another of the Eurotech cars in GT3, just ahead of them. Mick Adcock, who's joined in for this weekend as well. Oh, no, there's contact! Contact there between Nick Adcock and Godfrey Jones. Oh, and it's shredded the rear tyre off Nick Adcock's car. I think it might have done some damage to Godfrey Jones' machine as well. But that's the end of the race, I would think, unless they can... Oh, yeah, look, there's Godfrey pulling off, in fact. They're not even trying to limp back to the pits. Oh dear, that's not going to be too good for the team atmosphere at Eurotech, isn't it? The number 25 machine, meanwhile, is getting ready to go. There's Steve Warburton, who'll be hoping to take over from Pete Morris. I think he's worried that the space in the pit lane is already being taken up by the car that's having its tyre changed, but they are sending him on his way. Rory Fordyce back into the fray, but Godfrey Jones is out of his car.
That was so close there, Ben, between the 3 Eurotech cars. If we just have a look at the replays, they come over the brow into the complex. The contact there is between Adcock and the Jones car, and Michael had to jump on the brakes to avoid it. And back on board with the Eclipse Moser at Noble. Oh, and he spun! Oh, it's a huge spin at Noble.
Dear, oh dear, cloud of smoke, a complete 360. And look, he's actually been missed by everybody, and he stayed off the grass. Nick Adcock finally makes it back to the pits. Look at the state of that rear wheel.
That left rear wheel there, you see, it's absolutely shredded the rim, and the damage it will have done internally to the wheel arch and the rear bodywork there's dreadful. And the Mosler into the pit lane as well, Ben.
Yeah, now this is the first of the scheduled pit stops for driver changes. So Steve Hyde being literally hauled out of the car, and Philip Keane climbing aboard. Now Phil was one of the stars of the first race. Let's see what he can do in the second race here at Thruxton. Quite a number of pit stops being made. There is our race leader, Andrew Kukotti. Now I wonder how long he'll stay out before he hands over this machine to Nathan Kinch.
I noticed on the earlier shot of the pit lane, though, Ben, I saw the TVR coming in, and there we see the 43 car being pushed away. That was the TVR that was being driven so strongly by Warren Hughes, and he's talking now to Diana.
Warren, what happened?
A bad start. I got hit coming out of the complex on the first lap, so that caused a puncture. So I had to crawl back to the pits. And then I just lapping another car, offline, something came through the floor, a bit of debris from a wheel rim apparently, and it's punctured the brake master cylinder. So I lost the brakes. You know, I mean, lucky it didn't come and hit me, but yeah, I mean, the race was already sort of ruined by that stage. I'm not really sure which car hit me at the complex, but you know, it's ruined the race really.
Other pit stops going on. Piers Maserati, championship leader in GT3. I think he's trying to get us to look under the car because they've got more problems with the Tech 9 Porsche. He had a puncture earlier on, remember, and in race 1 as well. Also into the pits comes Tim Mullen from second place to hand over to Chris Niarchos, and Mike Jordan ready to go out. Meanwhile, Diana's with Piers Maserati.
Piers, looks like you've had your work cut out for you today. What happened?
A tyre, I ran over some debris, I think, and a tyre went flat at the first puncture. And the second time I had to come in again because the tyre was just about to blow out. There's a big cut in it. I don't really know why that is. It's very weird.
I suppose it's no consolation, but there has seemed to be a lot of cars come in here with punctures today.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's just very abrasive on the tyre, and it's all going against us today, I think.
Oh dear, not so good.
No, never mind.
Now, Chris Niarchos taking over the number 34 Ferrari from Tim Mullen, and hang on, there's a problem here. Something's not working right. It's not firing up.
You can see that Vince Moutry there at the car control is desperately trying to get him to fire the engine, but there's just nothing coming from the Ferrari's motor. The car 34, they're just refusing to start, Ben, unfortunately.
Meanwhile, in the Marcos, Chris Baton coming out now for John Finnemore to take over. This car running well up in GT3. Tim Harvey, though, leading it before the pit stops, although he did lose a little bit of pace just in the last couple of laps. Now, they've managed to bump start that number 34 Ferrari, so Chris Niarchos finally gets on his way, but a lot of time lost.
Oh, and they've had some rotten luck this weekend. First with the drive shaft failing in the first race, and now just mechanical failure, meaning the car's not starting in the second race. But into the pits comes the race leader, Andrew Kukotti, to hand over to Nathan Kinch.
Yeah, great opening stint from Andrew Kukotti. No problems at all. He's kept it safe, kept it clean. They've had no tyre problems. And now it's up to Nathan Kinch to look after that lead and see if he can maintain it to the end. Out of the pits comes the sole remaining TVR, so Johnny Kane has now handed over to Andrew Thompson in that car, and Nathan Kinch prepared to go. Let's hope they don't have a similar problem to the 34 car. Make sure it fires up properly.
And into the pits comes the Embassy Porsche again. The Ferrari crew there getting the car fired up, and away the race leader goes, Ben. No problem at all there.
No problem. Oh, but we do have a spin, and that's Steve Warburton. He's taken over the number 36 car, and also going slowly, that's Fred Moss in the number 20 car. Oh, they've had another puncture.
Oh, another puncture on another Porsche. That's terrible luck. We've seen so many GT3 Porsches having problems this weekend with their tyres, and speaking of bad luck, Diana's with Tim Mullen.
Tim, what happened during that pit stop?
Hi, Dan. Well, things were looking really good. Andrew got the best of the traffic, really. I got badly held up by a couple of people that didn't see me, and he was able to break away a little bit. But all Chris had to do was get in the car and drive round, basically, and we would have had a guaranteed second. And it's just really unfortunate, the starter. So whenever he went to start the car to leave the pit stop, it just wouldn't start.
Disappointed?
Yes. You should have seen me a minute ago.
We're back on board here with Phil Quaife. The Pro Sport's just gone off on the exit of the complex. We saw Phil get a bit sideways a moment ago, but he's has been lapped. He's in the GT3 class. He's been passed by Andrew Thompson. But further ahead, you can see Thompson's about to put a lap on Mike Jordan in the Eurotech Porsche. So Thompson's still going very well in the TVR. He's running in second place to Nathan Kinch in the moment, who's leading in the Ferrari. And on board with Phil Quaife as he just tries to pick his way through those fast sweeping corners. There, now in the Mosler is Phil Keane. He's moved up to third place. And now look, just trying to pick his way through the back markers. He's a lap ahead of the Nissan, in fact, so he's not dicing for position. Confirmation of the positions at the moment. Kinch ahead of Thompson and Keane. Kershaw running in fourth place in the other Mosler. And then Chris Niarchos in fifth after that problem with the engine not firing up in the pit lane. And in sixth place is Mike Jordan. Ooh, getting a bit tight there, I thought, and so did Phil, but he was going to go through on the inside.
Yeah, I don't think the Nissan saw him there, and he got very, very close on the way into the clipping point of Goodwood, but he's safely by as the car's run down into Church now.
There's our race leader, it's Nathan Kinch. He is controlling this race, and despite the car carrying the maximum ballast that has to be carried in GT racing, a full 60 kilos, it doesn't seem to have slowed them down at all. They've only been beaten on one occasion this year, and I don't think they're going to be beaten unless, of course, he gets tangled up with one of the slower cars, and that's always a possibility. Now, leading in GT3 is the Marcos, car number 81. John Finnemore is at the wheel. These guys have had a lot of bad luck this season. It's going better. Diana's with Chris Baton in the pits.
I understand it's your birthday today. Is it a happy one?
Yeah, very happy, yes. I think maybe our season started on my birthday, so it's a great day for us. Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's running quite strongly at the moment.
Yeah, we are. We're holding position and the car's comfortable, John's comfortable, so we're just hoping the car holds out to the end of the race.
So if it holds out, big party celebrations?
I think so. I think there'll be a few beers drank tonight, maybe.
Well, they're keeping everything crossed at Team Tiger to hope this Marcos makes it, but we're in the closing stages now, and the lead Ferrari of Nathan Kinch is on its final lap, so they've only got to climb up the hill, get through the chicane safely. They should be okay. But look, there's problems here for the TVR that's in second. A lock-up on the left front in a very strange place.
Yes, Ben, coming out of the chicane, it looks like the left front tyre is blown on that TVR as the Ferrari takes the win in the background, so drama at the checkered flag.
So Nathan Kinch crosses the line safely, but the TVR here of Andy Thompson does not. He's going to limp round, but he's going to lose a couple of places as a result of that. Confirmation seeing Philip Keane and Steve Hyde taking second, the other Mosler third, the TVR dropping down to fourth place as a result of that late puncture. In the GT3 class, the win for the Marcos, second place going to the Morgan of Brian Tenales, and third to Britnell and Harvey.
Nathan, many congratulations. No mistake today that you brought the car home over that checkered flag to take the win. How do you feel?
Yeah, it was a fantastic result. Andrew put it in the lead for me, so it's a case of taking it home in first place.
The TVRs at some point were pushing you behind. I think they dropped back, but they're getting closer, aren't they?
They are, yeah, for sure. I mean, the TVRs are strong, and they're going to have some wins later on in the season, I'm sure. But we're going to do our best to keep them from the top of the podium.
Okay, well done.
Thanks a lot.
We've had so much bad luck this year. It's just been unbelievable. The car's been the same every time. It's always been fast. We just haven't been bringing it home. But now, fantastic. We've won, and we're really pleased.
So it's all come together today.
Yeah, great. Everything's gone right. For all the bad luck we've had a really good luck day, and we're really, really pleased with it.
Maybe it was the birthday thing that did it. Maybe you should have a birthday every week.
No, it's because he didn't crash it. He normally crashes it, and it was a lot better when he doesn't crash it. So, yeah, it's great.
In the championship, Kinch and Kirkcaldy have managed to ease away a little further from Mullen and Niarchos after their problems at Thruxton. The Jordan Kane Porsche is next, but leading in GT3 still pretty comfortably. Here's Maserati and Dimitri Taverikos.
Well, the Ferraris have come out on top here at Thruxton to take the double, but can they do it next time out when we hit the very bumpy Castle Combe? Join us for that. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.